the magnitude of the numbers that are being thrown around, people are scared. They really don't know what's happening out there, the outlook. I mean, I update this periodically when I visit. I was surprised to find out. And there's no agenda or anything here. Just like you want your doctor to tell you if if you're sick or there's something wrong, you'd like to know in time to do something about it. I was shocked and surprised that people don't know what's going on. They're really scared. You go from two things. Are the likelihood going up substantially that we're going to have a double-dip recession next year? Is it going to be 2 or 3 years before we get unemployment down below 9%? You hear the experts saying that. And then other experts say, we've hit the bottom, it's a great time to start the business like you mentioned, and get out there, invest, send some people. The situation is when people don't know, capital goes on strike. That's the phrase I saw in the Wall Street Journal. Business Week had cash goes on vacation. Someone else had the same thing. When people don't know what's going on, you lock up. It's like the old thing. When we were kids, you used to laugh at the people. You'd say they're driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. And that's what you need to do right now. Because if you are too pessimistic, you're going to slow down, you're going to miss great opportunities because you won't have reallocated resources. If you're way too optimistic and just don't be practical, you're not going to be here next year. It's hard to say you've got to have 6 months visibility on cash. And that's what your people who are getting ready to start a business, like you say, if they don't have 6 months visibility on cash, they're taking a lot more risk than they think. And I say that's from an individual, the hair salon or the deli. I've found several $100 million companies that say we can't project cash. It's too hard. It's too much work. We don't want to do it. But I've said, well, it's doable. I'll show you how to do it.
Right.
There.
So even from the small startup to organizations that they don't even know where all their money is. They can't even sort of do a balance sheet on it. I mean, I think a lot of people, too, in the entrepreneurial world start out with a dream and a fantasy about what they want their businesses to be, and they're not really always fiscally savvy. I mean, a lot of times they're not.
They do the impossible.
They do whatever. They make ends meet. Maybe they get a loan, and then they grow, but they're not really... and I think they need somebody like you to come in and say, okay, let's think about how we're going to. Certainly you go in there and deal with the companies who are in crisis or the ones who want to are more progressive and want to improve what they do. But from your sort of fiscally doctor mindset, what are some of the things that people need to do? And I think you're right. I think we're hearing, New York State's going under, and we, for the most part, me included, I don't understand what that means in terms of the money. We've never had to really worry about it before. So what does that really mean? So, but then there's the flip side of, God, are we really going down here? Is this country really going down? So there's that horror that we hear about all the time. So how do you kind of find the middle ground to say, okay?
Well, let me do this. And Greece has been here 2,000 years, I think. I think New York will be here for a few more years.
Good, I hope so.
Okay. But I'll
glad to hear it.
I'll do two pieces. One you asked on the other one there is, what in the world is the fiscal clinic of what I do? And whether it's me or someone else, to get an outsider to help you. The checkup, it's just like the analogy of going to your doctor. You get a physical once a year. Right. A company needs to take stock once a year, stick out your balance sheet and cough, as we mentioned in the book.
I love that title.
Well, the second half is the reason for it is sound principles for long-term growth. So number one is, what are the 3 to 5 things we ought to do something more about, or opportunities we're missing? A checkup on these things with it is, let's go a little deeper. Maybe let's go 5 to 10. Let's take a couple more tests. There's a reason why we're concerned. The treatment is who should do this, and maybe something to project management. Sometimes people will say, Gary, that's great. Don't disappear on us. We want our people to run this and do it, but we need a little help. And the idea is to get to wellness, and then the company does better and stays there is the plan.
So what's in a checkup? I mean, because your first state and your first piece in your sort of business health model is the checkup. So when you go into an organization, what are a few things that you're checking up on?
Well,
what's the checkup?
The checkup, I did something, we'll talk about it. One of the simplest things is I sit down, sort of like we're talking here with the people. I look at key documents, and we're not talking a huge amount of time. Within a week or two, you can sort of like, I believe it's called Doctors Without Borders. Clients have told me, drop Gary in almost anywhere, almost any industry. And we're not talking years, months, talking a couple weeks. Number one is, I did something because people kept asking, what are the most common problems you see, Gary? And one of them really has to do with your customers. It is amazing to me how few people know their 10 best customers. Now, I didn't say the biggest, I didn't say the nicest, I didn't say the ones that take you to the baseball games. I said, where do you make the profit? And the very few of those that do that on these things with it, even fewer of those say, what is going to change? In other words, if my customer changes, profits change. I mean, it hasn't been that long that people really wanted to have car companies as customers, great customers. I noticed the other one, beautiful scenery the other day as I drove up on Sawmill Parkway.
Yeah, Sawmill.
Which I understand means there used to be sawmills around
That's
here.
That's right. Gary's from Boston, everybody. He's an out-of-towner.
Out-of-towner, and there's a lot of industry where people make money on sawmills.
There used to be sawmills, exactly.
A lot of trees, beautiful water. I don't think anyone's going to make any money if they were servicing the sawmill industry if they lived within 20 miles from the station.
That's right.
If they lived in Oregon or Washington, maybe they would. Things change
dramatically.
dramatically.
Okay.